All right, I'm on. I'm on. So I'm gonna be on here for a minute, wait for people to log on so I could answer any of your credit questions. Apologize for me not coming on lately, but I'm here. So I'm here to answer all questions. Got some time to spend with y'all, so let's go. Raquel, so hi, Raquel. What's going on? What's going on? Miss Johnson, what's going on? I'm here, so if you got any questions, Jay, you could be the first one to start asking. You know what I mean? I know you sent me an email or a message talking about restrictive endorsements. You wanted some more information on that strategy. So I'm here. You could ask me. I'm gonna do a video too to kind of give you step by step. But if you have any questions, you definitely can get this mic right. Definitely can answer any questions that you have. So sorry for me not being on. It's been a lot going on with my commute, and then trying to do in some other business adventures. So it's really kind of hard. The commuting is what really makes it hard for me to get on here consistently because I'm not at home for a few nights a week. So it makes it very difficult. And then I have such a long day, and I've been getting back into the gym, getting my workouts back on. So I've been lacking on my workouts. So I'm definitely trying to get that going. So it's been really a challenge in trying to get on here and uh, get the videos out. But I am going, I've been getting a lot of questions. A lot of people are confused about Metro too. So I definitely need to. I said I was going to start putting out a series of Metro 2. So, uh, we can. I know it's confusing the Metro 2 process, and you have a lot of people talking about it, but they're not really giving you solid information. They just say, hey, it's something good to use, uh, but you really need to understand it and see how it's broken down and how you could use it in your disputing strategies to try to get things deleted off your credit report. So Ms. Johnson says, so I was wondering if you use restrictive endorsements for unpaid charge-offs. LOL. I'm so excited about this strategy. Uh, so a lot of times when I use this restrictive endorsement, yes, you can use it. I've been using it along with trying to request a 1099-C. And it also depends on the creditor. So with charge-offs, uh, you definitely want, especially if it's over $600, you definitely want, the first thing you definitely want to do, every creditor is a little different. They all don't operate the same. I've done videos on these 1099-Cs, uh, but every creditor is a little different. So, yes, you could use that strategy for a charge off if you're trying to settle a charge off. But I also use it in the reference of trying to request a 1099-C as part of the terms and conditions for cashing the check to accept the payment on the check. I have those letters. If you want to, you can get those letters from me. Uh, I have a variety of different ones from collection accounts to 1099-Cs. Uh, but it's really you're creating a contract. That is what a restrictive endorsement is. So the restrictive part is you're restricting how they can get the money. That's the greatest part of it. So you have some people, because you use a personal check, but you have some people saying like, well, all they have to do is check take your check information, your routing number, and your account number. But that's what the restrictive endorsement, it restricts how they could take that money. That's all it is. So they can't use, and if they did, easily be able to sue them without a doubt. I'm not even a lawyer, but if I gave you one way and I specifically sent you a contract to say this is the only way that you could receive the money, and then they went outside those parameters to receive the money, then yeah, you got them. You definitely got them because they just broken the law. That's what's so powerful about a restrictive endorsement strategy. It limits. So you say for deposit only. The way they can only do that is deposit that check. To deposit any check, you have to endorse the check. You have to sign the back of it. So that's what make that strategy so great. And if you're in the credit repair space, and you have people with collection accounts, you've disputed these accounts, you're having a hard time, you're also going to run into clients that may be like, man, I really don't have time. I'm really trying to move in something different. I need to get this removed. It's a great way for you to expedite and get this collection account removed off an individual's credit report. I always say collection companies are greedy, right? So most times they see that check, they see the money, they're going to endorse the back of it, they're going to deposit it, and once that happens, you got them, right? You definitely got them. Well, what can I say? Don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, that's right. Don't forget to hit the like button. That's my main man. Yeah, we talk all the time. Don't forget to hit that like button. I apologize. And the thumbs up, don't forget to hit that. But definitely, it is a very good strategy if you're in the credit repair space, and it's definitely a very good strategy, when you're trying to get a collection account removed. Now, if you're trying to do charge off, it's a great strategy. I'm working with a client now on that same strategy to see if we can get them to issue a 1099-C. And again, every single every single creditor is different. So how they operate, what their company policies are, may be a little different. But the thing you need to understand about 1099-Cs is at some point that creditor had to write that off to receive a benefit from their taxes. They cannot not file a 1099-C. A corporation cannot receive benefits on losses if they don't file it. They have to file it as a part of their accounting procedures. So, for example, if you have a company that's $1 million company, but they have $500,000 in lost wages, they're not $1 million company. They're a $500,000 company. So for them to continue, they got to report that loss to the IRS. Then the IRS in turns give them a credit for those annual losses. That's why it's so great being in business, right? That's why business people have much more that they could write off on their taxes than us individuals. That's why having a business is much greater on your write-offs. As a individual with taxes, you got an accident, your car got totaled. That was a loss for you. You can't write them losses off, right? So, but as a company, if they had a loss, a vehicle got damaged, it was a loss, they probably could write that off on their corporate taxes. So there's a big difference between individual taxes, corporate taxes, and things like that. But that restrictive endorsement letter is definitely very powerful. And I'm gonna do a video to really break step by step down. The letter has to be, you just can't you need to be detailed, because if they say they cash the check, but they then don't remove it, now you're trying to battle with them if you need to take them to court. And I've never had, be honest with you, I've never had a collection company use that restrictive and not remove it. Now, let me say this now. They sometimes I've ran across where they will reduce it to zero and leave it on, but I have a follow-up letter that I send them saying, hey, this is the letter, this is the agreement you signed. So you need to remove this off, and it gets more deeper than that, but you need to remove this off my credit report. You agree to our terms and conditions, or I'm gonna have to go over take. And then I send them a copy of the check, the letter. I send them all that stuff, and at the same time, I just say, hey, I'll just turn this over to a consumer lawyer. So Cartier says, so is it good to use consumer law with Metro 2? Uh, uh, I don't, be honest with you, I try to, consumer law is good, uh, but you got to realize these are two different entities. You got to use them as they are meant to be used, right? If you're dealing with things on your credit report, and for you to sue, this is why people doing consumer law are not giving you the full information and scope, right? To sue somebody for reporting on a credit report, right? You have to sue under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, right? You have to sue under that. You have to follow those, what the Fair Credit Reporting Act, the laws of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and you have to send that information to the credit bureaus. And when you go to sue, you have to, what am I suing you under? Am I suing you under some consumer law? Am I suing you under the Fair Credit Reporting Act? See, what they're not telling you is, if you need to take that to the next level, what are you suing them under? You have to have what you're suing them under. So you have to sue them under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. You can't use consumer law and then try to sue them under the Fair Credit Report. It doesn't work that way. So I would tell you is that, uh, you if you're gonna be trying to fix a credit, something's not reporting correctly, you're gonna sue them under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Any consumer lawyer is gonna tell you that. So I think a lot of people try to, this new thing about consumer law, it's always something new that people want to throw out there. But you got to realize, are these people really understanding what they're trying to put out there? You can't, I'm not saying you can't sue under consumer law, but do your research. Find out, has somebody sued a creditor under the consumer law for stuff that's being reported on their credit report? Like I haven't really seen anything. Uh, so that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, be careful when you try to combine those two things, because they can get very confusing. So Raquel said, okay, she said it was wise for a small charge off and send a restricted check endorsement for 500 or less seems way more straightforward than pay them. Yes. So you're not going to get a pay for deletion on the charge off, because first of all, it's original creditor, right? So the original creditor, by law in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, per Metro 2, right, tells you cannot delete accurate information. So remember, if it's reporting accurate information, it's going to be hard to get it off. But you also have to inform your client that clearing up a charge off is going to increase their score. But people need to realize, people in this, as credit repair, we get caught up on talking about people's credit score. That is one aspect of getting approved for a loan. It's not the be all do all to get a loan, right? So you have to explain, listen, the only way I could get this account deleted because it's an accurate account, there's two ways. Either I can get it deleted because it's reporting inaccurate information, and that's the only way. The other way, let's settle the account. Because I'm gonna tell you, if you have a charge off, you have a past due balance, you have a delinquency because it's past due, it's a derogatory account, you have a balance. There are a number of different negative things, right? It's affecting your debt to income ratio. You got a delinquency account, past due. They're reporting it as a charge off every month. that charge off is active. And that's what people don't understand. So you get people that don't understand FICO tell you don't pay a charge off. But every month, that charge off, they're going to report it as a CO. That's why you see it on your credit report as CO, CO, CO. The date you pay that, they no longer report that charge. And if they do, now you got inaccurate reporting, have a better opportunity to get that count deleted, right? So people don't understand that you also need to, even if you can't get it deleted, but by you paying it, it's going to eliminate the delinquency. It's going to eliminate uh, the past due balance that show. It's going to eliminate the balance. It's going to eliminate them constantly reporting this account as a charge off. So it's gonna help your credit score. So let your clients know, like, I get it. I may not be able to get this off. This is the only way I can get this off, but I promise you, if you get this squared away, your score will go up. I prove it over and over, all the time. She just to just send an endorsement for the full amount versus settling a smaller amount. Me personally, I'm gonna settle for if I can't get it removed, I'm gonna settle for a smaller amount. The difference in the points that it's going to happen is minimal, right? It's still going to come off your credit report once it from the first delinquency. But I'm not going to pay somebody the full amount and they turn around and they're still going to report it. So, and yes, it's going to be a negative mark on your credit report, but that negative mark on a paid account is less than that unpaid mark on your credit report. So, it's a give. So, but it is more powerful to clear that up, because you got to remember, when somebody's looking at your credit report, you got a $500 charge off, and then you're trying to go get a car loan for 20,000. Hell, why would I give you a $20,000 loan when you got a charge off for 500 you can't even pay? Right? I'm probably going to put myself in that same situation. But if you clear it up, they can't use it. They can say, well, she had a negative mark, but at least he took care of that negative mark, or he took care of that negative mark. So you got to look at the whole process of your credit, and those things hold your credit back by not paying it, right? So it's all about moving your credit forward. So Carl said, what a check and endorsement do that help you trying to get the charge off? So again, the charge off, listen, the restrictive endorsement, depending if it's $600 or more, you're trying to receive a 1099-C. Because if you get a 1099-C, there are court cases, right? And this is in my letters that I send. There are court cases that say it is unfair. The court says inequitable, which means unfair to use uh, to report that to the IRS, get a tax benefit, and then also continually report the charge off on a consumer's credit report. There are a number of cases. I've talked about this in my 1099 video. Check it out. There are a number of cases that you can use to say, hey, it is unfair for you to repeatedly report this charge off account. I settled with you. You received the tax credit, and you're still going to report this. There are court cases that say it's unfair. So yes, you can use if you get use that restrictive endorsement and get a 1099-C, you have a better chance of getting it removed, right? But if you don't settle the charge off, it's very difficult for those to get removed, unless, now mind you, unless you can prove that they're just reporting inaccurate information. They've been reporting inaccurate information. You tried to fix it, they steadily didn't fix it, and eventually you're going to have to take them to court under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. I mean, it is what it is. But this is something else I wanted to talk to y'all about is, when you pull your credit reports, and even me, I've been noticing this. I like to use Identity IQ, because they give me a lot of information. But honestly, the first credit report you should pull, you could pull it from annual credit report, that's free, or you need to go to each individual credit bureau and pull your report. because I've learned listening to consumer lawyers that if you have to take them to court, those credit bureaus are going to say, where did you get that report from? And if you tell them you got it from Identity IQ or My FICO or all these other places, they're going to say, did you? So you did not get that information from us because we're not reporting that. Did you pull that information from us? Right. And if there's any discrepancy from that Identity IQ to their original credit report, man, your case is going to be shot, right? So you have to go to each individual credit bureau and pull their report. No, I pulled your report off your website. This here we go. This is your website, and this is the inaccurate information you're reporting from your website. Because remember, all third parties pull from the original. So you don't know how that information is being deciphered and how it's being downloaded. So I would tell you pull your report from annual because it's pretty exact. Or you need to go to go to Experian, go to TransUnion and Equifax and pull your credit report and really go over it and view it. Right? Anybody got any other questions? Come on now. Come on. Metro 2. Let's talk about Metro 2. So a lot of people, you're gonna have a lot of people talking about Metro 2. That's why I did that video, right? So Metro 2, right? So Metro 2 is it is a language. It's right. There is a language that the credit bureaus use, and they use that to communicate through eOscar to the original creditor. But what Metro 2 does, it tells you like what areas are required in that information on your credit report, what information is not required but applicable, right? Meaning that so like high credit. Oh, let's say credit limit. If it's an installment loan, they can't put a credit limit in there. But if it's a charge off, they can put a credit limit in there. So it's not required on every account. So uh so Metro 2 tells you what is required in these sections, what is not required in this section. So when you understand that, you have to look at that. And it also then you look at based on that, okay, this is a required field, but is this field reporting accurate information, right? And then that's where you go back and say, okay, Metro 2 says you are required to report this information, but the information that you're reporting is inaccurate. So, and that's what like people want you to buy all these Metro 2 software. That's all it's doing. It's just looking at certain your fields and say, is this a required field? Right? You should be reporting, and they'll put the code, right, for that field at the end, and then say, hey, you need to this field is not accurate. So say you have an account status, you're looking at your credit report, and the account status say it's an installment loan, but there's nothing in there saying it's an installment loan. It's inaccurate. Metro 2 says it's required you because you understand that that field is required and you don't see that information. It says, okay, I'm going to use Metro 2 to understand that that was required, but you didn't put that information in there, so that information is inaccurate. And that's how you use Metro 2, right? And every it's broken down to a credit card, it's broken down to a installment loan, student loans, mortgages. I mean, it's broken down in every aspect of everything that could be reported on your credit report and how it is. Then it's broken down on all the codes. There's a number of codes. So if you look at the last video, like is some of them have like 7 or 8 codes, and each code represents something, right? So and that's what make it. They try to say it's simplified, but it's really more. To me, it may made it more complicated. But and I think that's the problem when you're disputing, when people trying to dispute stuff, right? They don't know how to dispute. So the credit bureaus are confused on what you're trying to dispute, right? So They may not even be sending a dispute letter to the original creditor. They just, like some people say, they just change numbers and say it was verified, right? So but if you understand that process, you can understand how to actually dispute information using Metro 2. So Carol said, wow, so looking into Metro 2 tells you what is and is not required. I've been trying to figure out the whole point of it, and it makes so much sense. Yeah, and that's what it is. Like, man, what did I do with my Metro 2 stuff from yesterday? Because I put it up. Let's see if I have. Man, what I do with my Metro 2 stuff yesterday. So, because I did my video, man, I'm all over the place. I have my videos. Matter of fact, this may be it right here. So let me give you an example. Uh, this is some of it. Oh, right here in my freaking face. Lord have mercy. There's a snake, it would have bit me. So I'm gonna give you an example. I went over this yesterday. So this is kind of what Metro 2 looks like. So the highlighted tells you. So I don't know if y'all can see that, but it tells you like so it'll say like this is for banking, savings and loan, credit unions, installment loans, lines of credit. So it tells you portfolio type. If it's an installment loan, it has to say installment. An I for an installment or installment. If it's a line of credit, it's going to say C for line of credit. Then it's going to say account type. Then it gives all these different codes. And then the credit resource guide is going to tell you what these codes stand for. 00, 05, 10, 11, 13, 17, 20, 90, 91, 95, 0A, 3A, 6A, 9A, 7B, 0F. And on the line of credit, it's got code 15, 43, 47A, 7A, 9B. And I said I'm gonna do a video on these codes, right? And then it says, okay, it goes to the next section. It says credit limit. If it's an installment loan, it should say zero field, should be nothing in there. But if it's a line of credit, it's gonna say assigned credit limit. So if that assigned credit limit is not in there or it's wrong, that's how you use Metro 2 to say, hey, the credit limit is inaccurate. It is required under the line of lines of credit in Metro 2, right? So then you go to the next one. It says term of duration. This is all the stuff that's in your credit report, right? It says if it's an installment loan, the number of months of the loan. So if you have a 60-month loan and they put 72 months, it's inaccurate. You got your paperwork, you know it's not a 60-month loan. So now you understand Metro 2, that is a required field. And if that's not in there, then that information in that report is inaccurate. Lines of credit, it just says it should be LOC. There's no terms duration for a line of credit. It's like a revolving account. So it'll have LOC, lines of credit, right? Then it goes down to say schedule monthly payments. If you look at your credit report, if you got a credit card, it usually tells what your monthly payment is, right? So in an installment loan, your regular monthly payments. If that regular monthly payment is inaccurate or wrong, then Metro 2 tells you that that is a required field, that is inaccurate information. On lines of credit, it says a minimum amount due based on balance, not including any amount past due. So in that field on that month, it's gonna, if you're not late, it's gonna tell you that your minimum monthly payment is this. Then it go down to account status. It's going to break down a bunch of codes, special characters, compliance conditions. So this is, and it tells you this on each one of these, right? Child support. What should it have for child support? Credit cards. Is it a revolving account, open account, assigned credit limit? I mean, it breaks down everything. A debt buyer, it breaks down the debt buyers on what each section should be, right? So Date open, a debt buyer collection account, the date the account was purchased by the debt buyer or placed assigned to a third party. So when you look at that open date is telling you that, hey, that this account was received in my office on this date, right? So don't get that caught up like that's your date of first delinquency. No, that's the date they purchased that account and that account was assigned in their office. You could use that if it's outside the statutory limitations and they're reporting that, then it's wrong, right? It's inaccurate, right? So high credit, the original assigned amount as of the date of purchase. So that high credit has to be what the amount was the date they purchased that account. Dealing with debt buyers, if they purchase that account, so say you get, this is why it's so important to ask for validation. You call, you send and get it. This is how you get collection companies, because once you can prove they have that they are that this account, based on the information, it's no way that it's accurate, right? Because I'm looking at it. So say you send out your validation letter to a collection company, right? That's why it's so important. You get the letter and they say you owe $580. They purchased that account, right? $580, but they're reporting that you owe $520, right? As your high credit, because it should be the same as the balance. Both should be the same. It is required that they report it. So now you could be like, well, you can't, it's no way that you know this account is accurate because I got proof that you reported that I owe 520, but you send me a letter that I owe 550. So you can battle that in court and win your court case, because they have to prove not just ownership, that they got to prove that the accounting on this account is accurate. And if they can't prove that, you'll win your case all day long, especially if you have proof that the numbers don't match up, right? It's the same way if you got a collection account and it's been sold from collection company to collection company to collection company. Listen, there is something called it is something called chain of custody, right? From the original creditor to the first collection company. So that next collection company has to have the same letter that shows that they sold it to the first, and then they also have the letter that shows that the first has signed it over to them. And if they move it to the third, say the third company's got to have the letter from the original collection, the original creditor that was signed to the next one, right? To the collection agency. The next letter that showed that they signed it over to the next one, and then the next letter that showed they signed it over to them. Chain of custody, right? So that's all those things are so important to understand. And if you can prove that the chain of custody is broken, you also can prove that how do you know this account is accurate? Think about it, right? So Cartier says, so can you use a 609 letter? Listen, 609 letters are junk. People don't even understand what a 609 letter is. So let me break down what a 609 letter is, right? A 609 letter is asking the credit bureaus to send them information on the account. The credit bureaus don't have no contracts. They have minimal information on that account, right? So they can't send you information that they don't have. So when people say, well, send me all the information on a 609 letter, because if you dig in, that's what it's telling you with a 609 letter, right? And then it's like, well, you didn't send me enough information, you need to delete this account. Well, they don't have the information to send you. They only have to send you information that they have. If they don't have that information, they can't send it to you, right? So a 609 letter is a waste of time, and anybody preaching 609 letters don't know what they're talking about. And you need to blow them off, right? So don't be listening to people talk about no 609 letter. It's really a joke. It's been people that's been putting it out, and it don't even make sense. Don't use it. People that really understand credit are pretty much just looking at you like you don't know what you're talking about. So don't anybody out there talking about 609 letters, you need to laugh at them because they don't understand what a 609 letter is and what it's asking for. The credit bureaus are not going to go and ask the original creditor for a contract, right? So the credit bureaus can't send you a contract on an installment loan because they're not going to have that, and the original creditor is not going to send them that. So when anybody talk about that, man, just blow that off. Don't even listen to them because you just send them a laughing emoji like you just did because they don't know what they talking about. So it's all about research. But like I said, these 609 letters, excuse me, this Metro 2, it's a definitely breakdown. And I got a lot of this stuff, man. I'm telling you, all I do is research this stuff, all the different codes. These are kind of the codes I haven't went through yet, but I'm gonna do a class on some of the codes. I'm gonna kind of go back over and then kind of hit the codes that go along with those sections, right? So you can understand what those codes mean, all that other type of stuff. So, using Metro 2 is always in conjunction with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Remember, don't let nobody tell you you can sue somebody under Metro 2. Another thing, I definitely want to talk about this because this is a lot of another misinformation. There's nothing in the law that tells a creditor they must report information to the credit bureaus. There's nothing. They don't have to. It's only if they report it, they have to report accurate information. So if they report to Experian and TransUnion, they don't have to report to Equifax if they don't want to. It ain't nothing you can do. So you're going to get some people to say, well, they're not reporting on Equifax, so it's inaccurate. They don't know what they're talking about. They ain't doing enough research. Because all you have to do a little research. Is it required by law for a creditor to report to the credit bureaus? You get it all day long. It's not required. They don't have to. There's no law to say they have to. The only law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, says if you report that information, it has to be accurate information. But they don't have to report it. They don't have to ever put it on your credit report if they don't want to. So don't let people also tell you like something's not reporting on one, so it makes the other two inaccurate. It doesn't make it inaccurate, right? Because they may not have wanted to report to them. So don't let anybody tell you that either. It's definitely a misclaimer, and you can look this up for yourself. If you think I'm lying, look it up. Is it by law that a creditor has to report information to the credit bureau? And you will see it. It's something they don't have to. They never have to. So this credit game, man, it's about understanding because you're gonna get some people that's just gonna feed you some BS. And if you don't understand it, you'll just fall into the trap, spending your money and not understanding the truth about credit repair. And that's what I'm here for, to really to teach the truth about it, right? To let you know, don't get so caught up in trying to get things deleted that reporting on your credit report accurate and get frustrated because you don't get it off and you spend more time trying to get accurate information off your credit report than building your credit report to overshadow the negative stuff, right? And I don't get that part. Like, I'm gonna tell you, when I did it, when I filed bankruptcy back in 2000, it was 2013. I filed bankruptcy from after the housing market crash. I tried to hold on. I just had a lot of stuff going on back then, right? New house, new car, credit cards, all kind of stuff. So, but when I came out of my bankruptcy, the first thing I did was start. I think the first thing when I got back, I opened up me a Fingerhut account. I started getting some secure cards. Probably about 3 weeks after that, I bought a car. Right. I started building, and yeah, my interest rate was 18%, but I didn't care about that because I needed to start putting positive information. And I knew if I make an additional payment during a month, then I could cut that interest rate down. I wasn't concerned. I was being punished. To me, I'm being punished for something that ain't my fault. But because I had filed that bankruptcy, I knew that I was going to be taking some hits here and there. But if I start now, then as time goes on, my credit will look good, and I've established years of good credit. So now when they look, they say, yeah, he filed a bankruptcy in 2013, but man, he's never been late, and it's 2018, right? Yeah, the bankruptcy is still showing on there, but I've got so many other positive things on there, it doesn't affect me. Matter of fact, when my bankruptcy eventually fell off my credit report because my didn't even raise 1 point because my credit report was so strong. So I didn't even have any issues with my credit, right? So it's all about, understanding your credit, understanding how to move forward. A lot of people get stuck on that score, and they don't look at. I just look at my profile. I need to look at my credit report and say, hey, man, my credit report look good. I got this positive account, this positive account, this positive account. They've been just putting positive accounts on there. Uh, Other thing you need to be careful with is some of these subprime cards putting on your account. People like Affirm, some of these Easy, some of those when they hit your credit report, they really hurt your credit score. Even though you're putting positive information, but the reason it hurts your credit score is because there's those accounts are really easy to get, and it's an indication of bad credit. So I've learned this, right? Because I've done Affirm because it's easy. But as you start building that credit report, you need to quit using those type of accounts because those type of accounts indicate bad credit. Even though your credit report may be good, but just because those accounts are reported on your credit report can hurt your credit score. So be careful putting them like, some of them Affirm and some of these other quick little Snap and all these quick little companies that report that you could pay because it's an indication of bad credit, and some credit bureaus really damage your credit score because of that. So be careful. I know you're trying to build in the beginning, you're trying to build credit, but right now with fintech companies and all these other companies, be careful with what you're putting on your credit report. Don't put a bunch of uh, $300 subprime cards on your credit report. It's going to eventually hurt you, and you're going to be like, "Why my credit score is not getting, authorized users." Uh, Getting a secure card from your credit union, your bank, and then every time you get paid, use that as your savings account to go increase the limit on that secure card. You gotta, use Grain. There are Kickstart. There's a bunch of other ones out there that you can use to put on your credit report. So just be careful what you're putting on your credit report to try to put positive information because in the long term it could hurt you. So but I've been rambling for a minute. So I haven't seen any more questions. Anybody got else any questions? Hey, continue to hit that thumbs up if you haven't. I appreciate it. Start gonna be doing like having super chats on here. So if you got questions, but I'm gonna try to do these lives a little more. I kind of fell off a little bit, but man, this commuting thing has been kind of really holding me back from really getting on here. So, but anybody else got any questions or anything? Metro 2, we talked about Metro 2. We talked about restrictive endorsement, dispute process. Anybody got any questions about the dispute process? What is what is a good strategy when you're trying to dispute information off of a credit report? How do I approach it when disputing information? So, anybody got any questions on that? Come on now. So just come on. So, but anyway, this is all about really trying to give y'all good information about true credit repair. Give you information about Metro 2. Uh, a lot of people talk about it. I see people talking about it, but they're not giving you the in depth about Metro 2. They're just kind of telling you how this is this great thing to get stuff and how you can get stuff removed using Metro 2, but they're not really breaking down what is actually Metro 2? How is it is actually used? What is it about Metro 2 that will help you get something deleted? They just kind of tell you and leave you hanging, you know. And then, hey, listen, I haven't talked about this lately, but I do have my master dispute package, has all this information in. It's got Metro 2, it's got the resource guide, it's got a ton of information, it's got dispute letters, it's got restrictive endorsement letters, letters for trying to get 1099s removed. It's tons of information in there. It ain't a bunch of junk, a bunch of fluff. It's actually research that I've done, a lot of information. It's so much information. Before, it was just a bunch of they wasn't broken down in a file. So I've got so much information. I actually have to break it down in a file. So actually, when you buy it, it comes in a zip because it's so big. I have to send it to you in a zip file. You open up, but tons of information. If you're interested in that master dispute package, just shoot me an email. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. I haven't had anybody complain about it yet. Most people tell me I should be probably charging more for the wealth of information that's in there, but there's a lot of information in there when it comes to credit, uh, strategies, and all that other type of stuff. Letters in there, all that. You know, hey, disputes are uh, uh, is a very complicated. It seems easy, but it can be very complicated. Uh, just follow the process, right? Don't add a bunch of junk in your letters. Be specific. If you're disputing the multiple things that are inaccurate, instead of putting multiple inaccuracies, to say, I am disputing the integrity of this account. Because when you do that, now the credit bureaus are going to say, can you check all the information on here? So, uh, understand what you're disputing, because the credit bureaus, to be honest with you, you shouldn't be disputing but one or two things. If you have five inaccurate things, I would only dispute one, maybe two things. I wouldn't put all eight things. Can you do it? Yes. But the way the credit bureaus are acting now, do I trust that they're going to look at every single thing that I put in that letter and relay that information to the creditor through eOscar on the ACDV form? I just don't believe it. So I'm not even gonna fool myself to think they're gonna do that. So for me, I break it down. I don't give them too much to eat. I feel like I'm dealing with a baby, right? So I gotta feed them just a tiny bit. I don't want them to choke off all the information that I give them, right? So I'm not gonna be giving them all this information that I'm trying to dispute in the first letter, right? Right? You're going to check that information. That's why it is really a drawn out, long process, right? So just make sure when you're disputing, don't dispute too much and don't add all this. Hey, you got 30 days to respond. All I put in there, the only two things I say, Section 611, it's your responsibility as the credit bureaus to investigate. In Section 623 S2B, it's the original creditors uh, responsibility to report accurate information. Other than that, that's it. Beside the address of the credit bureau, uh, your address, the date. Other than that, then it's my disputes, and that's it. I don't give them way too much. Hey, if you're coming on, hey, appreciate y'all coming in. Please hit that thumbs up as you come in. I appreciate y'all. We're talking about Metro 2 dispute processes, answering any questions that you may have. So I'm here to answer any questions. I really want to talk about Metro 2 because there's a lot of people out there talking about it, but I believe me, I'm just like everybody else. I get on here and I look up stuff for people and see what information people giving out. Maybe I learn something from it, right? So I do it and I sit out there. I'll be like, man, these people are not giving real information. And sometimes, like, I want to blast them, but I'm just saying, you know what? I'm not gonna get in there. Every now and then, I shoot something over to be like, man, y'all need to be shaming yourself. Y'all need to do a little bit more research, because that information, people believing that information is accurate when it's not. right? So because some people are just not, they're not educated on this, and it's not easy, right? So you know, uh, just make sure that when you're out here dealing with these people that educate yourself. Uh, man, man, I went to the beach today. Me and the wifey went out and hung out on the beach. It was nice, man. It was nice and windy. It was cool. Then went out there and got something to eat. It was nice. It's real nice. Then came home and came straight up here to the office to went live with y'all. So, but anyway, anybody got any other questions? I know somebody got some more questions. Come on now, y'all gotta hit me with something difficult, right? So, uh, nothing else. I don't want to cut this short. I've been on here for about 51 minutes. So I know I got people popping in and out, but come on. I appreciate y'all hitting the thumbs up. But yeah, what other questions y'all have? I'm telling with Metro 2, y'all should be asking me those questions, right? Because that Metro 2, it's a lot of information. I mean, that book is, I think it's like either 291 pages or 321. I haven't looked in a while, but it is a big book and has a lot of information. I'm always in there looking and researching, how could I use these strategies to help? Cardell said, "Do you think about talking about business, how to build an LLC?" I mean, I'm gonna tell you, when I opened my corporation, because when I opened a corporation. I didn't even do an LLC, and the reason I did a corporation, because if you do a corporation, you can open up multiple businesses up under your corporation. That's why I did it. Uh, my brother has he has a restoration roofing business, and then he told me, like, man, open up a corporation. But LLCs are good. Uh, just when you're opening up a business, man, you have to open it up like it's a legitimate business, because that's how you're going to get business credit. Like I have business credit. I have a Platinum American Express. I have a Mastercard with BP. I got a fuel card. I have one with Chevron. Uh, uh, so I have, and then I have other little accounts that I have. So you have to open it up like it's a business, like it's a legitimate business. And if you're gonna open up an LLC, you got to have a company website. You got to have a company email address, a company phone number, even have an 800 number. You got to have a website. You got to have that, so it is considered a legitimate business if you're gonna open up one. Then you start off with your net 30 accounts. You got to start, start off with these net 30 accounts, right? I don't have, there is no business card that is on my credit report, on my personal credit report. There are people, they get business cards and then they get uh, uh, a guarantor, like they're, like Capital One wants you to use it personal. No, you're not gonna be on my business credit and my personal credit. They trying to jack you on both ways. That's why I don't have any Capital One business card, and I don't want a business card that has to be linked to my personal credit. You have to keep that separate, right? But you have to be building your business credit separately from your personal credit. Now, some people may look at like American Express looked at my personal credit, but they don't report to my personal credit, right? They just need to look at it. And I'm okay with that. But I'm not going to give you no guarantor to be saying, well, you're going to report on my personal credit and my business credit. No, I'm not going to do that one, because anything can happen. Now your business is damaged. If your business doesn't make it, your business, then now you're going to damage my personal credit. No, we're not going that route. So I don't even deal with Capital One. If I'm gonna deal with some kind of business credit, it's gonna be strictly up under my business name, not under that. But uh, But yeah, it's great building business in an LLC. It's nothing hard. I went actually when I did mine, I went to uh I had a company actually set everything up for me. Right. So I mean, I set up like my EIN number, some of the easy stuff I did. I didn't have to pay for that, but they really set up all the other uh, everything else to get my business going, my articles of corporation, and all that other type of stuff. That's what I did. I actually paid somebody to do, uh, and I think it may at the end it may have cost me maybe $600 to get it done. So I rather pay it, have it done, and that's really kind of I went through. So, uh, but anyway, look like we got people falling off the chain. So I guess that I spent this hour with y'all. I appreciate y'all for really coming out and hanging out with us. But hey, if you have any questions about Metro 2, you want more in depth, I am going to be doing some more classes. I'm probably going to try to do another class tomorrow on Metro 2, try to make up for the time trying to make up for the time the last couple of weeks I didn't do any videos. Uh, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you too. Uh, but I'm gonna try to probably put out some more information tomorrow. Tomorrow I gotta go to the gym and then I gotta go check on my car that's in the performance shop. And then I'll probably come back and try to knock out a video to y'all, something dealing with Metro 2. And I want to do something on the codes, but that's gonna be probably it may be a little long video like this last one. So but because there's just a lot of codes. Uh, but I'm gonna try to knock out another video. I know Raquel wanted me to do a video on the restricted. I'm gonna do a detailed video on that restrictive endorsement letter and why I should be using. But hey, listen, July, all medical debts are going to be, if they're paid medical debts, will be coming off your credit report. That's a great thing. Uh, any medical debts now uh, can be reported for 12 months come July. And then starting next year, any medical debts under, I think it's $500 will not be reported on your credit report. So that's such a great thing. Most people have more medical debt issues than anything else. So, but other than that, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Again, if you want my master dispute package, hey, shoot me an email. I'll get it to you. I know my website is down, and I actually I need to get it back up. Been kind of procrastinating about that, but just been talking to a lot of people and they just been giving me information on be careful who's hosting your stuff and uh you you don't you Beyonce, like I've talked to a couple of people say you want to have you want to own your own hosting on your website. You don't want other people holding your hosting. So it made me rethink some things that I was gonna do. Uh so uh, but I am going to be working on getting that back up. It's a lot more I want to do on that website. It was kind of, be honest with you, it was kind of plain, kind of bland. So I want to do much more. Actually, I want to be able to, if people want to buy that master dispute packet, they could just go in there and download it and have it. I don't have to send them emails and I don't have to go through the whole process of getting it to them. So I'm trying to, there's some other things I want to do. I just need to get on it. But again, like I'm telling y'all, man, this uh, commuting from Houston to Dallas for work right now, it's been kind of hard getting on and doing all this stuff, and then trying to find the right place here uh, until I move into my next phase of franchise ownership, and that's what I'm working on now. Actually, I got a meeting tomorrow with the SBA people to talk about an SBA loan. So I'm trying to move to my next, if my next adventure in life. So hey, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for everything. I don't have any more questions, so I haven't had any questions for a while. So hey, I appreciate y'all. Hey, y'all have a blessed day, and I'm out.